YouTube, thank you for coming back to my channel. Welcome back. As always, I appreciate you coming by. So, want to jump right into it. Getting into the post-fight talking of UFC 309, Jon Jones versus Stipe. And so, it was very clear from that fight. Like I said, I did in my last video, I did pick Jon Jones to win. I did assume that Stipe was going to put up more of a challenge to Jon Jones. He didn't. He made it to the third round, which was good. The first round looked really rough for Stipe with that ground and pound that Jon Jones got him in. Excuse me. He dropped some serious elbows, and I was under the impression that Jon might get him out of there in the first round, but he survived. The second round, Stipe actually looked a little bit better, landed some shots. The third round, Jon caught him with that spinning back kick, and that was the end. And I have to say, after watching Jon Jones finish Stipe in the third round, but more importantly, watching Stipe's performance, his slowness, his reactions were off. You know, he was bigger than Jon Jones, but outside of that, he was just not the same Stipe. Not when he fought DC. I would say he didn't even look the same as when he fought Ngannou a couple years ago. Stipe was visibly slower, and he was out of his prime for sure. So I would say that was more than, how would I say? It was, Jon Jones was more than capable of beating Stipe in his present state. Now, we're going to segue over into Tom Aspinall, which is the fight that everyone wants to see, myself included. Tom Aspinall, that does not take away from how I feel. Tom Aspinall, I do believe, would give Jon Jones his toughest fight. And more, I do believe he would be, he may not be favored by the odds to beat Jon Jones because Jon Jones is the GOAT. But I personally would favor him to beat Jon Jones, definitely. I feel like Jon, he did better. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like he handled Stipe better than I expected. But once again, I have to say it's because Stipe did not look like the Stipe of old. So I'm not ready to say, okay, well, Jon Jones did this to Stipe, so that means he's definitely ready to face someone like Aspinall. Aspinall, I don't see Aspinall getting caught with, first of all, that trip that Jon got Stipe in. I don't see Aspinall falling into that. I don't see him not being able to get back up and just get grounded, pounded like that with those elbows. And then I do believe that if Aspinall catches Jon with some of the punches that Stipe caught him with, Jon is going to react more harshly, more severely. He's going to show that those punches hurt more. And, you know, you never know. Maybe Aspinall may be able to reverse some kind of ground position that Jon has. It might not be so easy. But, you know, I do think that that is a possibility for Aspinall. I think that Aspinall, especially after seeing that fight, Aspinall, he was saying, I think I can beat him. And I think so too. We just have to wait and see. Looks like Jon Jones, he said at the end of the fight, he was like, so, you know, we've been talking and, you know, we may end up giving you guys what you want. But when he sat down for the post-fight press conference, still he made it clear he wants to go to the Alex Pereira fight. And that if he fought Tom Aspinall, it would have to be basically fuck you money, to where even if he lost, he wouldn't care. And that right there just lets you know that I don't think in his mind, he's not so sure about Tom Aspinall. And also, he is definitely worried about people seeing him lose. He has spoke about the fact that he has a lot of haters, and a lot of his haters just want to see him lose. They don't want to see him ride off into the sunset with all the chips, as he says. I could agree that there are quite a bit of people out there, just on YouTube, I'll say, the channels I watch, a lot of people want to see Jon Jones lose. I'm not necessarily one of those, but I do want to see him challenged, and I do want to see the heavyweight champion fight the interim heavyweight champ and consolidate those belts. All right, so right now I'm still feeling like Tom Aspinall would beat John. If they fight sometime next year, let's see what happens. Now, want to comment briefly on Chandler and Oliveira. And man, I did pick Chandler. I was thinking that Chandler was going to come out hungry. He was going to try to avenge that loss that he had with Oliveira the first time. And Oliveira looked so much better. Oliveira looked like he stepped it up a couple levels. He was ready for Chandler. Was not really afraid to exchange with him. He did get caught with a few big shots. Ate most of them. And then we have to talk about Chandler grabbing the fence to prevent being taken down, like blatantly. Okay, the ref missed it, I guess. Blatantly grabbed the fence. I don't know how he missed that. Also, all of those back of the head shots. I'm sitting there like, all of these shots are in the back of the head. What's up with this ref? He's letting him almost finish Oliveira with some illegal shots. So. And Oliveira still came out on top. You know, I do commend Oliveira for that. And he went, a lot of people talk about that fight wasn't going to go 5 rounds. And, you know, Oliveira gets tired and stuff like that. But he went all the rounds. And he looked good. Is he ready for Makhachev? A lot of people were saying, oh, well, Chandler's... I don't know if he was a D1 wrestler or whatever. He was some sort of wrestler in his past, and he has that wrestling background, wrestling pedigree, and you know he likes to strike, he likes to put on an entertainment fight. But we know that he has the wrestling to rely on, and the way Oliveira just pretty much manhandled him once he got him, mostly to the cage. But I don't see Makhachev. You know, when people have a good fight, then everyone wants to say, oh, you see, now he's ready for... I don't see Oliveira being ready for Makhachev. I mean, the levels of wrestling, Chandler and Makhachev, worlds apart, okay? We saw what Makhachev did to Oliveira very quick. I think it was like the second round. Made him tap. I don't see Oliveira being ready for somebody like Chandler. And... I would say we definitely have to see Sarukian first. The fight with Sarukian and Oliveira was pretty close. I give it to Sarukian. I think they got the ruling right. If you disagree, that's on you. You can leave it in the comments. Want to touch on Bo Nickel versus Paul Craig. I could not remember his name my last video. And Bo Nickel... So I'm going to say he definitely won the fight, and he showed that he is willing to go a full fight without really trying to do any takedowns, which in all fairness, he may have been afraid of Paul Craig's jiu-jitsu, may have felt like he had a better chance with the stand-up, which obviously he did because he won. It was not that exciting of a fight. Bo Nickel is not a great striker at all. He's not exciting with his striking. And every time he strikes, you always just anticipate him to, you know, do something high and then go low. So that's pretty much what I was waiting on the whole time. He did land some shots on Paul Craig. And Paul Craig was really ready to engage with him. That was kind of the part that I was a little disappointed about, because Paul Craig was like, yeah, come on, let's do this. And Bo Nickel was playing it very safe. He really did not want to put himself in any sort of position to where he could potentially lose, get submitted, something like that. So I get it. Again, I get it. You're trying to win, and at the end of the day, you know, the fans may love you for getting into a Michael Chandler style fight, but if you keep losing, you know, it hurts your record. Bo Nickel he hasn't lost, and he doesn't want to give his first loss to somebody like Paul Craig. I do get that. So we'll have to see what's next for somebody like Bo Nickel. I really don't get into the matchmaking, but you know, I want to see him face someone that is, you know, a good striker, but also can, if not as good as him on the ground, can defend takedowns, so it won't be just a one-sided match if Bo Nickel takes whoever it is to the ground. And lastly, now we see Bo Nickel is not ready for Khamzat Chimaev. We can definitely see that. Khamzat would take Bo Nickel down and potentially submit him. I could easily see that, especially from the last fight. But by the time they fight, if they ever do, maybe Bo Nickel will be much prepared by then. So those are my thoughts on UFC 309. Just wanted to touch on the main 3 fights. I did enjoy the card for the most part, but those 3 fights were what most people were watching for, so wanted to address that. Gonna be keeping up with all the UFC, talking about different people, different fight cards, stuff like that that's going on. Like I told you before, I am a big fan of UFC, so that's gonna be a part of the topic that I talk about on this channel. Once again, thank you for coming back to my channel and watching my video. Until next time, I'll see you soon.